I'm a founding director of a small outreach called Jasmine Grace Outreach. We have an outreach that serves vulnerable and sex-trafficked women in Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire, as well as a residential home in New Hampshire called Living Hope Farms. I was trafficked about 20 or so years ago, which seems so long ago at this point. I've been out of the life, the commercial sex trade and addiction, for almost 18 years. So when I think about that, I have a whole new life today, and I've been doing advocacy and anti-trafficking work for about 12 years. And when I first got out and got clean and sober, I didn't even know I was a survivor of trafficking because it wasn't a term. It wasn't something that we talked about. The Trafficking Victims Protection Act didn't come into effect until the year 2000. And when people started talking more about it, and then I finally realized that I was a survivor of commercial sex trade. I was 19, I was young, I was vulnerable. I was in college. I had just graduated vocational high school. I got my cosmetology license, and I met a guy whose motive was to turn me out, essentially, to, you know, become my trafficker, pimp, and I didn't recognize that because of the coercion and the manipulation. And really my greatest need was to be loved and to belong, and he just used that right against me. And he promised a house and a business and family. And so a lot of those vulnerabilities are still the same for those women that come from other countries, but the barriers are they don't speak the language, their documents are all taken away, and they have this debt bondage they have to pay back. That's inevitable. They'll never be able to pay that back because it just continues to get higher and higher. And then you add in the shame from the commercial sex trade and the violence and the abuse. It just gets this cycle, you know, going, and these women stay trapped. And so for me, that was the exact same, right? I was trafficked through the brothels or massage parlors. Back in the day, there wasn't as many Asian ones. They were American owned. And this was because the internet wasn't popular yet. And so we know about prostitution being on the street. You know, I'm from Massachusetts, so there was a place in Boston called the Combat Zone. And that's where a lot of women were exploited on the streets. And that was sex trafficking then too, but we didn't have a term for it. And so they were trying to clean up the streets, and really all prostitution did was get pushed indoors. And so trafficking happens in strip clubs as well. You know, what goes on in the back rooms and behind closed doors, that happens all day. But these massage parlors back when I was trafficked were American owned and very criminally ran and organized. And one particular one was in Kittery. It was called the Danish Health Club. It was pretty infamous. Everyone in Portsmouth, Kittery on the seacoast knew about it. It was kind of like a joke, like the town whorehouse. And a lot of the women that were there being exploited all had traffickers. And I was there for a solid 2 years from my trafficker. And it's like being in a cult, right? It's in the mind. I was trapped, you know, mentally, emotionally, physically. And then he would sit me down for hours on end. You're a no good, dirty prostitute. You're no good. No one will ever love you. And that became my identity. And then the experience of the trauma in the commercial sex trade validated what he told me about myself. I am no good. I'm dirty. No one's ever going to love me. And so you get stuck in these cycles. And I tried to escape. And I had parents that I could go home to, but I didn't have the courage to tell them everything I'd been through because of the shame. And I wasn't going to sit down and say, Mom, I'm a prostitute, right?